Yeah, the GOAT. Logo threes are back, y'all. Logo threes are back like they never left. Caitlin Clark doing it to him.
All right, so here's what's beginning to surface about what actually unfolded behind closed doors at USA basketball training camp. And it's far more uncomfortable than the calm, polished messaging released afterward ever implied.
She was just like so happy to be there and like was individually like telling media members how nice it was just like talk to them again and like that she was just part of the basketball process.
According to multiple people with direct access to the gym, Caitlin Clark didn't arrive to observe, assimilate, or patiently wait her turn. She didn't try to blend into an established hierarchy or ease herself into the background.
And just fun to like see the players in a live game situation again, because you think about like Caitlin hasn't played since July 15th, you know?
Yes.
There are 4 sparks of this camp. Their season ended on September 11th, right? So it's been a long time since any of them have really played competitive basketball.
Caitlin Clark showed up ready. By the middle of camp, she was operating at a level the room wasn't prepared for. Shots were falling. Reads were instant.
Caitlin Clark is on fire. Day 3 of Team USA camp. The girl couldn't miss. It was like throwing a rock in the ocean for Caitlin Clark.
The game felt different the moment the ball touched her hands. Not loud. Not flashy. Not forced. Just decisive. What happened next wasn't drama or conflict, but something far more disruptive. The game itself started reorganizing around her.
You also got a quote out of Sue Bird about her being impressed with Caitlin just being engaged while she was out and getting back to being able to play.
Possessions flowed cleaner. Tempo lifted. Attention shifted. And without announcement, the balance quietly shifted when Caitlin Clark wasn't sharing the floor with familiar partners. The disconnect became obvious almost immediately. Several players simply weren't prepared for the speed and precision of her decision-making. Passes arrived early. Windows closed faster than expected. One moment in particular stood out to observers, a perfectly timed entry pass delivered high and on target, only for the receiver to bring the ball down, instantly killing the advantage.
A little bit about what Caitlin looked like on the court, how much fun she was having, how important it was, and then someone else, Angel Reese on the other side, talking about Chicago. That was the article I was not expecting.
That wasn't a chemistry issue. That was a readiness issue. And it mattered because this wasn't a developmental gym. This was Team USA training camp. A space occupied by players who've spent their entire careers thriving under pressure. Olympic champions. Franchise leaders. Veterans accustomed to being the center of gravity wherever they play. Yet despite that experience, the environment shifted in a way few anticipated. According to multiple accounts, the tension that developed wasn't loud or confrontational. There were no arguments, no raised voices, no visible fractures. Instead, it was subtle. Heavy. Uncomfortable. The kind of tension that forms when reality starts asserting itself faster than people can emotionally process.
When she was not playing with Aaliyah Boston, some of the bigs didn't know what to do with her passes. Like there was one time where she passed it to Hamby and Hamby like brought the ball down. It's like, you can't do that. Like this is not, you have to keep it up, right?
Straight up, right.
Clark wasn't overpowering anyone physically. She wasn't demanding touches or asserting authority verbally. She was simply playing the game at a pace that forced everyone else to react. Scout team defenders were instructed to bring international-level physicality, and she didn't hesitate. She absorbed contact, kept her dribble alive, and continued reading the floor with clarity. For someone still ramping back from injury, that alone made an impression. Off the court, Clark's demeanor didn't match the disruption she was causing. She was reportedly upbeat, engaged, and genuinely happy to be back in a live basketball environment. She spoke with staff members individually, expressing appreciation for the opportunity to compete again and emphasizing how much she enjoyed being back in the rhythm of the game. There was no visible ego. No performance. Just presence. But once she stepped between the lines, the tone changed. She didn't ease into drills. She didn't scale herself down to match the room. She operated at her natural speed, and the gym had to decide whether it would rise to meet it. Context matters here. Many players at camp hadn't played meaningful competitive basketball in months. Seasons had ended earlier in the year. Bodies were still adjusting. Timing was still returning. And then Clark stepped in and compressed the margin for error immediately. Within minutes, the energy in the gym shifted. Conversations quieted when she touched the ball. Drills took on a sharper edge. Reps felt more urgent. It wasn't because anyone was told to pay attention. It happened instinctively. Even Sue Bird noted how impressed she was with Clark's engagement and readiness to re-enter competitive play. The message was subtle but clear: something different was happening. This wasn't about disrespecting resumes or challenging legacies. It was about something more destabilizing. The realization that possessions were cleaner when Clark initiated them. That spacing improved when she orchestrated the offense. That reads appeared earlier, and advantages materialized faster. The established rhythm built over years of hierarchy began to wobble. Not because anyone lost ability, but because the game itself was reorganizing. And by the end of the week, one player reportedly left early. Not injured. Not cut. Not confronted. Simply aware that the game's direction had shifted away from them. That detail changed how people interpreted everything that followed. That early departure is what pulled attention away from speculation and towards substance. Because what happened at that camp wasn't driven by politics, favoritism, or marketing influence. It wasn't coaches forcing a narrative or media shaping perception. It was basketball logic asserting itself in real time. The kind that doesn't ask permission and can't be negotiated once it takes hold. Clark didn't campaign for control. The game gave it to her because it functioned better when it did. That's the part that unsettled people. When systems reorganize naturally, there's nowhere to direct frustration except inward. Observers noted how Clark's presence reframed the entire week. Her shot was back. Deep threes. Off-balance looks. Pull-ups that stretched coverage the moment she crossed half court. But what stood out wasn't volume. It was command. The way she dictated tempo without rushing. The way she manipulated defenders with her eyes. The way she delivered passes to exact scoring pockets, not just open space. That level of precision demands collective readiness. Some players adapted quickly. Others struggled. And that divide quietly reshaped the emotional temperature of the gym. The uncomfortable question that emerged wasn't whether Clark belonged. That answer felt settled. Anyone watching could see her control possessions and elevate collective execution. The real question was whether her dominance was intimidating or simply revealing. There's a difference between respecting someone's reputation and experiencing their pace every possession. Between watching highlights and guarding reads that arrive half a second sooner than expected. For some players, that realization is energizing. It sharpens focus. It elevates competitiveness. For others, it destabilizes identity. Especially when the game stops flowing through the role you're accustomed to occupying. Team USA camps are usually structured environments. Efficient. Professional. Predictable. Even with elite talent, there's an understood rhythm. Players know when to assert themselves and when to defer. That rhythm didn't survive Clark's arrival. Not because she disrupted it intentionally, but because everything began orbiting her decisions. Drills felt heavier. Possessions felt faster. Coaches leaned forward without noticing. Assistants exchanged glances. Notes were taken. Adjustments were made. This wasn't hype. It was gravitational pull. The kind only elite processors generate when they play at full speed with no wasted movement. Sabrina described Clark as making the team in the truest sense. Not through selection, but through proof. Possession by possession, the game confirmed it worked better when it flowed through her. That's difficult to witness if you're used to being the focal point. And by the final day, that reality was undeniable. Clark didn't coast. She didn't soften her impact to preserve comfort. She played the same way every rep, and according to multiple accounts, someone in that gym struggled with watching hierarchy change without ceremony. Paige Bueckers saw it immediately. When Clark ran the offense, everything sharpened. Spacing tightened. Timing synced. The ball moved with purpose. Paige didn't resist it. She recognized it. Adapted. Elevated alongside it. That's high-level basketball intelligence meeting another elite mind. Angel Reese experienced something different. The shift wasn't energizing. It was disorienting. The game no longer centered her strengths. Possessions didn't bend toward her presence. The offense didn't slow down. It moved on. And over the week, that truth became increasingly difficult to ignore. The tension peaked during a closed scrimmage. No cameras. No audience. Just competition. Clark ran point with authority. Paige spaced perfectly. The ball moved cleanly. Reads were immediate. Angel tried to assert herself physically. More contact. More force. But the game didn't accommodate that approach. It accelerated. Precision replaced power. Possession by possession, Angel's influence faded. Not through benching or discipline, but through tempo. The system revealed who it functioned best through. Coaches noticed. Assistants whispered. Notes were taken. Angel saw it happening in real time. And that's when it landed. The game wasn't choosing her. Clark's precision stood out most. Not the step backs. Not the logo shots. The accuracy. Passes delivered to exact scoring windows. Timing that eliminated defensive recovery. Some players weren't ready for that. One brought the ball down. Advantage gone. That's not a mistake of effort. It's a mistake of preparation. Clark demands readiness without saying a word. The camp emphasized international-level physicality, and she embraced it. Absorbed contact. Controlled pace. Answered every remaining question about toughness. The final day felt quiet. Focused. Sharp. Clark directed traffic like a veteran. Angel barely touched the ball in meaningful possessions, not as punishment, but as consequence. When it ended, Angel left. No scene. No statement. Just departure. The gym froze. Everyone understood. This wasn't drama. It was basketball truth. When elite players share the floor, the game decides what works. Reputation can't override that. Angel's openness about wanting a different environment adds context. This camp wasn't just competitive. It was clarifying. There was nowhere to hide. The offense revolved around decision-making, timing, and control. The ball found Clark because it made sense. The pace followed her because efficiency demanded it. She didn't demand control. She earned it. At that level, there are only two choices. Adapt or walk away. The game chose. And so did Angel. At this level, the game doesn't negotiate. It reveals. You either adjust to the rhythm it demands, reshape how you contribute, and evolve within the system taking form, or you recognize that this version of the game no longer fits you. There is no compromise. No rewinding momentum. When basketball makes its choice, players must make theirs.